YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo. Welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. I'm going to be discussing how the new moon in Libra is going to affect you according to your ascendant. I'll also discuss what your ruling planet is going to be doing at this lunation. This Libra full moon is all about relationships. Libra is the natural 7th house of the zodiac and deals with committed relationships, business agreements, marriages. It also deals with the law and balance. So we may hear news about judges or judgments, but essentially this full moon circles around your one-to-one relationships, the relationships that you have with another person in your environment. It doesn't have to be that you have to be in a romantic relationship or married. You have a relationship with someone in your sphere. If it's not that, it's a relationship with yourself. Some of us are going to experience the effects of the solar eclipse that's coming up in October, and that eclipse is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. It's on the 25th of October. This full moon in Libra is happening on the 25th of September. We usually start to feel effects of an eclipse a month before or perhaps a month after the lunation has happened. So don't be surprised if this energy is really intense and comes at you as though you're in eclipse time. We are within the eclipse window. This is the last new moon before the eclipses begin. Eclipses are karmic and fated events. Eclipses could absolutely change the whole direction of your life. I'm running a special for $60. This reading is going to focus on how these eclipses are going to affect you according to your own personal birth chart. So book a reading with me. The link is right below this video. I would like to say a big thank you to all my new subscribers. I am really hoping that before the end of the year, I reach the 10,000 mark. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do so now. I'm still doing the giveaway for a free solar return. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button. Make sure your subscription is visible because I should be able to pick you out from my subscribers. So if I can't see your subscription on my analytics, then you lose the chance of winning this free solar return. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment in the comment section below this video saying a free solar. And if you want to add anything to your comment, you are welcome. But just make sure you do those two things. For the people that did that 2 weeks ago, you can still do it again. And even if you don't do it again, as long as I can find your subscription, you're still in the running. So this solar return reading is for a half hour. It's absolutely free. It's done live over Zoom. I'm going to announce the winner of this free solar return reading at the Aries full moon video. I would also like to say a big thank you to all the viewers that have bought a reading with me. I enjoyed reading you and I'd love to read you again. For those who haven't bought a reading with me, there's still time for you to take advantage of the 35% off most of my readings discount. So who is going to feel this lunation much more intensely? It's the cardinal signs, and the cardinal signs are Libra, Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer. Libra and Aries oppose each other. Cancer and Libra square, Capricorn and Libra square. So the people who are experiencing an exact square aspect are going to find this lunation a bit more challenging. However, you can't really make that judgment because there's just so many other aspects that are going on in the background at the time of this lunation. But if you have anything exactly at 2 degrees of the cardinal signs, you will be experiencing this lunation intensely. Also, the people that have Venus as their Lord of the year in Hellenistic astrology, those people are going to feel this lunation intensely because Venus is being activated at this time. And if you're going through a Venus Mahadasha, Venus is also being activated, and Mahadashas are time periods in Vedic astrology. The other people who are also going to feel this lunation intensely are people who have a Libra ascendant for their solar return chart, or a Taurus ascendant for their solar return chart, because both are being ruled by Venus. The people who are born on or before the 25th of September a few days before or a few days after are also going to feel this lunation intensely, and they're going to have this new moon in their solar return chart. When you have a new moon in your solar return chart, this is the year that you're going to have major brand new beginnings in your Libra house. So this is going to be very important because this is energy that you'll have with you for the rest of the year. The other people who will feel this very personally are people who have any points, planets, or angles at 2 degrees of Libra. Those angles, points, or planets are being activated at this new moon. So essentially, a lot goes into making predictions about how a particular event or lunation is going to affect you. All these aspects have to be factored in. And if you're confused and you need further guidance, you'd like to find out how this lunation is going to affect you according to your own natal chart, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. So just keep in mind that any event, any lunation, any eclipse that is involving Venus and Mars, because they're the rulers of the North and South Node, is going to be felt intensely by everyone, because the North Node and the South Node bring karma to everyone. This is the direction we must all go as a society and as mankind. So this lunation in Libra is very, very important. It could set the foundation and the future of your relationships. The new moon is happening on the 25th of September, and it's happening at 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check for your own time zone. This is New York time. There are a few tight aspects happening at this lunation, and one of them is Mercury is going to be at 27 degrees of Virgo, transiting retrograde, conjunct Venus, who is at 25 degrees of Virgo. Venus is transiting direct, but Venus is important because Venus is the ruler of this lunation and also the ruler of the North Node, the transiting North Node in Taurus. So whatever Venus does in the zodiac while she's ruling the North Node is going to be very, very important. That is another reason why this new moon might feel like eclipse energy. Mercury retrograde is dominant in the sign of Virgo because that is one of the signs that Mercury rules. Venus is in detriment because she's opposite her sign of exaltation, which is Pisces. So Venus is really not in a good space at this lunation. Venus is going to be dominant when she starts transiting her sign Libra, but unfortunately she's going to be traveling too close to the sun and she's going to lose some of her power. Essentially, Venus is going to become burnt. This means that we might experience some challenges when it comes to relationship issues, and this is going to basically affect the feminine energy in our chart, the females, and our money, since Venus rules both. So let's look at this particular lunation and try and see what we can use to our advantage to try and resolve the issues in our relationships, because Mercury transiting the sign of Libra, the sign of balance and negotiation, wants you to talk about it. So if there's some hidden issues that you've been putting off, Mercury in Libra is asking you to address those issues at this lunation. There will be some help, some divine help, because Venus is opposing Neptune. Although this aspect can make some people become a bit delusional, have the pink glasses on and not see their lover clearly, that's one of the results of Venus opposite Neptune. However, if we look at it on a higher perspective, since Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, and Venus is all about love, Neptune is about higher love, perhaps some of us will soften our stance when it comes to issues in our relationship. We'll have a softer eye, a much more forgiving eye because of the opposition to Neptune. Just be careful of deluding yourself. Just try and see things as clearly as possible. But also, since Venus is very judgmental, critical in the sign of Virgo, maybe now that she's opposing Neptune, she's going to be less critical and much more forgiving. So this is essentially wonderful for relationships, because I know Venus has just been there pointing out your faults and your shortcomings. So we get a little we get a little break from that. Just don't get too lost and carried away in it. The other tight aspect of this lunation is that Jupiter, who is currently transiting retrograde in the sign of Aries, is going to directly oppose this lunation at around 3 degrees. The lunation is at 245 degrees. It really is at 3 degrees if we round it up. Jupiter aspects are generally very forgiving and tend to bring out the goodness in any situation. So even this opposition is going to result in something positive, because Jupiter is the lord of abundance after all. This opposition will help us look at things on the broader perspective, the bigger picture. Mercury and Venus are conjunct at this lunation. This is an aspect of sweet words. So perhaps So if you've been seeing someone for a while and you have not told them exactly how you feel about them, this will be an excellent opportunity for you to tell them that you love them. Venus conjunct Neptune will also bring out the sweetness in you, sweet words. So we'll be speaking to each other in a much more loving way. Just make sure you're not listening or encouraging long tales and lies. Because remember, Mercury retrograde is also opposing Jupiter, who can tell a big story. Just make sure you're seeing things clearly and make sure you're not being deceived. So if you're feeling confused at this lunation, or perhaps a relationship has come back and you're not sure whether to take this person back, I'd suggest you listen to what they have to say to them. You know this person, so you can tell when they're telling tales, lies, and all of that. And just step back a minute. Listen to Venus, because Venus still has the discerning eye. She can tell the lie. She can tell the truth from the bullshit. Try not to be too judgmental, but listen to Venus. She is the ruler of the North Node after all. The North Node always takes us towards our future. Mercury retrograde in the sign of Virgo met up with the Sun at around 29 degrees of Virgo. This is the cazimi aspect, and this happened on the 23rd of September. When Mercury meets up with the Sun, it's as if he's meeting with the king and presenting all the information that he's gathered on his journey, where he was looking back at things and interviewing people, finding out, digging up information, and now he's presented it to the king. So at this time, at that date, you may have received some type of really important communication, or perhaps some information that was missing was at that time revealed to you. If you're still confused, trust the information that you received at the moment of Mercury cazimi, because the truth was brought to light. Information that was needed was presented at that time. So make your judgments moving forward from that. Make your judgments from the information that you received. However, if you're trying to make decisions on issues that are life-changing, I suggest that you wait until Mercury is moving direct. Keep in mind that this Mercury retrograde is going to end its retrograde cycle opposing Neptune. That is the aspect of liars, swindlers, and perhaps even you deluding yourself or not wanting to see things clearly. So I would suggest give it like a week or 10 days when Mercury is absolutely away from Neptune. After this opposition is over, you will be able to make well-informed decisions. So if you're signing a contract, buying a house, or trying to get married, or anything that's going to really change your life, wait until this opposition is done and Mercury is far away from Neptune moving forward. This lunation is giving us an opportunity to heal relationships. Venus conjunct retrograde Neptune in the sign of Virgo are both trining Pluto, who is currently at around 24 degrees of Capricorn. This is an Earth trine. Remember, we still have the North Node in Taurus, and Uranus is also still currently transiting retrograde in Taurus. So this aspect makes an Earth grand trine. So when we have an Earth grand trine, we can make things, we can cement things, we can build things on a solid foundation, the Earth. So Venus and Mercury are both trining Pluto. Venus trine Pluto is the passion aspect. So expect a lot of passion, intensity in relationships at this lunation. But Mercury is also wanting you to go back, bring up everything that needs to be discussed. Mercury is not forgiving at this time. She's going to want to go deep because of the trine to Pluto. So for those of you who are brave and honest enough to deal with whatever has been in the background, whatever you've been hiding under the bed, whatever has been in the closet, bring it out to the surface now. You'll be able to save your relationship because your partner is willing to go deep with you and see if there's anything real, if there's any longevity to this relationship. And remember, as I keep saying, Venus is the ruler of the North Node. So whatever happens at this time will feel fated and karmic. All these aspects happening at this lunation are reactivating that Uranus North Node conjunction. And if you've not watched my video on this triple conjunction and you're wondering what this is all about, I suggest that you go and watch that video. It'll give you much more information, because whatever is being ironed out now, these are issues that are going to stay in our lives for the next 15 years, because that conjunction, that triple conjunction, is being reactivated at this lunation. For those who have not seen any forward movement, or those who have not solidified things as far as whatever changes were brought about as a result of that conjunction, the triple conjunction, we shall see some movement now. If after you've brought up all your issues to the table and discussed them and you're still not getting along, I suggest that you go to a therapist. Go into couples therapy. This is an excellent time for you to do so, to iron out your issues with a mediator involved, because perhaps just the two of you are not getting anywhere with negotiations. Or if you need to hire a lawyer, depending on whatever situation you're working with here, this is an excellent time for you to do so. The thing I'm going to suggest for everybody, all signs, if you're avoiding issues in your relationship, you're not going to get far, because your relationship is going to get destroyed at the South Node eclipse. The solar eclipse that's happening a month from now in the sign of Scorpio. And this is where elimination, because it's a South Node eclipse, and absolute transformation happens. Handle your issues in your relationship at this lunation so that you have a good chance of surviving the solar eclipse that's coming in the sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio is not a forgiving sign, so take care of it now, and don't be shy about asking for what you want. Don't make demands, just plainly and bravely state your case. Let the other person know what you expect from them, or where you expect a relationship, or where you expect a potential relationship to go, or where your marriage is going. Get clear on all those details. This way you'll be stronger together. Another aspect that's going to add a lot of passion to this lunation is the fact that Mars and Venus are squaring. Mars is currently transiting in the sign of Gemini and squaring Venus, who's still transiting the sign of Virgo. However, this square is separating because Venus is going to enter the sign of Libra in a few days after this lunation. All these aspects are bringing a lot of intensity and passion to this lunation. I think this is a very positive lunation if you use this energy of negotiation and bringing things to the table and being clear about your expectations of the other person. You will be very successful at this lunation. Remember, the Earth Grand Trine is trying to bring stability, trying to help you to build a solid foundation in the houses or signs that are affected by this Grand Trine. And this Grand Trine is happening in the Earth signs. I love to see Grand Trines in the Earth signs. They always cement things. They make you build a stronger foundation. They give things longevity. This is energy that you know that you're working with something. You're trying to resolve something that is going to probably stay around and has potential of sticking. It has that stay with itness. Really go for it. Discuss, negotiate, do whatever you have to, bring everything to the table so that make sure nothing is left out at this lunation. This is our opportunity to really make sure that we're looking at everything realistically and bringing in only the things that are going to take us to our North Node. Aries, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 7th house. This is the area where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings. Jupiter is still transiting your sign, however, he's transiting retrograde. So perhaps he's still bringing up old issues for you to look over and just bringing in a lot of contact with other people. Jupiter is opposing this lunation and is also opposing Mercury. So perhaps people are coming up to you with these big ideas and you're like just sitting there thinking like, should I not? Maybe not. This is an opportunity for you to sit down and bring up all your concerns that you have about potential partnerships or issues in your marriage. This is a great opportunity for you to open a new leaf in your agreements or in your marriage. And for those that are wanting to get married or start a new relationship, this is an excellent time for you to start talking to someone and perhaps consummate the relationship a little bit after Mercury is clear of the opposition to Neptune. At least at that time, you'll be seeing things a lot clearer than you are at this time. Aries, if you haven't watched the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the whole introduction. Most of this information is very relevant for your sign. So my word of caution to you, Aries, is if you have major life-changing decisions, new beginnings, new beginnings in relationships, marriage, contracts, I suggest that you really wait until the air is much clearer. It's a bit too foggy and murky right now. Ruling planet Mars is not really aspecting this lunation. However, he is aspecting the ruler of the lunation. So perhaps things are going to get really hot and heavy because after all, Venus is the sign that is ruling your relationship sector and is being activated at this lunation. And it is also the planet that is ruling the north, is also the planet that is ruling the transiting North Node. So you are going to be very active at this lunation and you are going to feel this lunation intensely. Your Libra house is an angle house. It is the descendant. So when the descendant is activated, all the other angles in your chart are all activated. So whatever transpires with your partnerships is going to possibly affect every area in your life because your decisions are going to this decision is going to affect your standing in society. It's also going to affect the opposite angle, the IC, your home area, and most of all, it's going to affect you. So you are going to experience this lunation in a more challenging way because squares push us into taking action. So perhaps there is something that you've been procrastinating on and your partner is going to bring up that issue and you possibly have to make a move after this lunation, something or someone to push us into taking action. And after we've taken that action, we may be actually grateful because the result is going to be something the result could be something beneficial. Aries, if you haven't watched the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the whole introduction. Most of this information is very relevant for your sign. So my word of caution to you, Aries, is if you have major life-changing decisions, new beginnings, new beginnings in relationships, marriage, contracts, I suggest that you really wait until the air is much clearer. It's a bit too foggy and murky right now. Ruling planet Mars is not really aspecting this lunation. However, he is aspecting the ruler of the lunation. So perhaps things are going to get really hot and heavy because after all, Venus is the sign that is ruling your relationship sector and is being activated at this lunation. And it is also the planet that is ruling the north, is also the planet that is ruling the transiting North Node. So you are going to be very active at this lunation and you are going to feel this lunation intensely. Taurus, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 6th house. This is the area where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we begin something new, something has to probably end. This house rules over our daily routine, our eating habits, our work routine, our work, our co-workers. So perhaps some of you are beginning a new job at the time of this lunation. It's okay to start a new job even though Mercury is retrograde. Just keep in mind that perhaps some of the things you agree on are going to change in the near future. And perhaps these changes might actually be to your liking. Perhaps you're going to be hired for a better position than you applied for. That has actually happened to me, and my position kept changing within that organization. So don't worry about starting a new job during a Mercury retrograde. However, if you're signing a contract, if you can afford to get an attorney, this is an excellent time for you to have your attorney look over that contract before you sign it. The 6th house also rules over our health. If you're starting a new medication, make sure you read the instructions properly. Understand the instructions and the possible reactions of whatever medication you're beginning at this time. And for those who are planning to have elective surgery, I really suggest that you wait until Mercury is moving direct and far away from the opposition to Neptune. And remember, Venus is also opposing Neptune at the time of this lunation. So perhaps you have a different idea of what you think the end result of your surgery is going to look like, and the doctor has a different idea. There might be some confusion there. So wait for all this energy to just clear away before you make any major life-changing decisions. And of course, elective surgery can really alter your life positively or negatively. Your ruling planet is the ruler of this lunation because he rules your sister sign Libra, where this new moon is happening. And let's also keep in mind that your ruling planet Venus is the ruler of the transiting North Node in the sign of Taurus. So whatever Venus does, whatever your ruling planet does at any given time while the North Node is in your sign is very, very important. So if you haven't listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to all the other aspects and how they may relate to your own personal birth chart. Venus is trine Pluto. Pluto is the ruler of the South Node. Venus is squaring Mars. Mars is also the other ruler of the South Node. So perhaps this is something that you really need to address in your agreements and relationships with others at this time, because this is critical. It's ruling. This is something that is probably going to alter your life for a very long time to come. Since the aspects Venus is making are to the rulers of the South Node, this says to me that Taurus has to make some major decisions about letting go of certain things that are no longer working in their life. Maybe you have collected and hoarded a bunch of things that are not really practical, or helping your life advance in any way. This might be the time when you have to look at those issues deeply and perhaps let them go. For some people, it could be feelings of jealousy and envy that you're holding on to. This is time for you to let all those go. Gemini ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 5th house. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because of course, whenever we make big new beginnings, we may have some major endings. The 5th house is a happy house. So this lunation might be actually positive for you because Gemini trines Virgo. That is a harmonious aspect in your creative project, or perhaps you've been wanting to start a business. This is an excellent time for you to go over the details, negotiate prices, negotiate contracts. But if you can avoid to sign those agreements, I suggest that you wait until this energy has cleared up, the energy of Mercury opposing Neptune. Keep in mind that this Mercury retrograde cycle is going to end is going to end with an opposition to Neptune. That is an aspect of the liar, the sweet talker, unless of course Gemini, it's you doing the sweet talking and trying to get in with a romantic partner, then hey, but just keep in mind that it may come at you in a negative way. You are the one who could be lied to if you're not the one telling the lies. So if you have to make any major decisions, wait until your ruling planet Mercury is moving direct and several degrees away from the opposition to Neptune. That would be around maybe 10 days after the retrograde is over. So I know you want to get things started. I know you want to start the romantic relationship. Wait until this energy has cleared so you can see your potential romantic partner clearly, or you can see the details of the project that you're about to get into clearly. Whatever you sign is going to stick, because remember, there is a grand earth trine there is a grand earth trine at this lunation, and this is trying to make things solid and things stick and have longevity. So you don't want to be stuck in a bad business agreement arrangement. And if you're planning entertainment for your children or perhaps a vacation with a romantic partner, just make sure again you're looking at all the details. This lunation is a positive lunation for you, Gemini. So wait to make life-changing decisions after Mercury is clear of all the deceptions, the fogginess, the murkiness. Wait until Mercury is away from the opposition to Neptune. Cancer ascendant, Sun or Moon. This lunation is happening in your 4th house. The 4th house is the area where you will experience brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings. As we all know, after we make new beginnings, or when we make new beginnings, there's usually something that has to be ended. Cancer is one of the signs that's going to feel this lunation intensely, because Cancer squares the sign of Libra, and Cancer, being that you're ruled by the luminary, the moon, you always feel lunations personally. The 4th house is an angle house. Whenever there's a lunation or an event on the IC, it activates all the other angles in your chart. So whatever decisions you make at this time are probably going to affect all the other areas in your life. So make sure you're seeing things clearly and making wise decisions, and taking advantage of the energy of the grand earth trine. So it's not all bad. Perhaps you have positive sextiles aspecting this grand earth trine that will give you some opportunities to initiate certain things in your life. If you haven't listened to the beginning of this introduction, I highly suggest that you go back and listen to the whole introduction, because it will fill in all the other missing information. Take those aspects that are being activated at this lunation and see how they affect you according to your own personal birth chart. Cancer ascendant, the 4th house is the most private part of our natal chart. It is the most sensitive spot. This is where you're having this brand new beginning. You could have issues that have been long-standing with your parents, with your mother in particular, or with your ancestors. And these issues are being brought up for discussion at this lunation. Perhaps some of you Cancers are wanting to move. And if you're trying to purchase a house, sign a mortgage, sign a commitment to paying a mortgage at this time, I would certainly advise you to wait until after the opposition, or until after Mercury goes direct and is done opposing Neptune. It's very likely that if you sign this agreement at this time, you may not like the house after all these planets are moving direct. So just take your time, give yourself ample time to really ask yourself if this is where you want to live for a very long time to come. Because remember, there is a grand earth trine that is trying to solidify things in your Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo areas. So the decisions that you make at this time may actually stay in your life for a very long time. So perhaps you've been having discussions in the area of your home, discussions with your mother, or discussions about a potential move or purchasing a new home. This is the time that you're probably going to be forced to make a decision in which direction to go, because the square aspect pushes us into action. So you have Jupiter in Aries opposing your IC. There's a lot going on this axis. This is the axis of your home, and this axis rules over your home, your deep emotions, your family, your mother, your ancestors, and it's opposing your MC, your work area. Perhaps there's a lot going on in your work area or with your standing in society, and it's affecting your relationships at home. This is the time that these issues are going to be brought up for discussion and for you to make decisions and choose a direction. Your ruling planet, the moon, is being opposed by Jupiter at this time. This aspect could make you become oversensitive or have really big emotions. Cancer, if you're trying to make a big decision, a big life-changing decision at this time, I suggest that you just wait for this energy to clear. This lunation has just way too much energy going on. Too much room for deception or making the wrong decisions. So if you can hold off on the life-changing decisions, I suggest that you do so until a much later time. Leo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your third house. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we have a new beginning in an area of our life, something in that area also ends. I feel this lunation is going to be positive for you, Leo, simply because your sign sextiles the sign of Libra. This is positive and harmonious energy. This is an energy that will present opportunities to you. It's up to you to take advantage of them. The third house is also the house where we have to make an initiative. It's the house where we have to make an effort. So if you make an effort to make those brand new beginnings, you'll be able to use this energy in a very efficient way. However, if you're trying to make life-changing decisions, I suggest that you wait till Mercury is moving direct and is clear of the square to Neptune. The third house rules over communications. It rules over our immediate environment. It also rules over our siblings and our neighbors. So perhaps there have been some long-standing issues that have been going on in those areas. Maybe this is the time that issues are going to be brought to the surface and for you to make decisions. If you're signing any contracts at this time, make sure you're looking at all the details, and if possible, hire an attorney to look over that agreement. For those who have been writing a book and want to go and you feel that your book is ready, you want to go and publish, make sure you take it to your editor and give your editor some time to really go over your book, because your editor is going to be able to clearly bring up all the issues that you need to change or address or need to correct. Your ruling planet, the luminary, the sun, is always involved in every lunation. So you always feel lunations intensely, because you're essentially being activated. The sun is opposite Jupiter at this lunation. This is an aspect that's going to bring a lot of energy, some type of big ideas or opposition from others, but it's not necessarily a negative aspect. You just have to make sure that those ideas are not too grand and are ideas that can actually be, and they are ideas that can actually bring about something real and substantial. Leos and the other fixed signs are getting a bit of a break at this lunation. Unless, of course, you have planets in the cardinal signs, then you're going to feel the square from this lunation, and then that changes the whole story. But generally, this is a positive lunation for you. If you make effort and you look for opportunities, if opportunities are presented to you at this time, make sure you take advantage of them carefully though. Virgo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your second house. This is the area where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we initiate something new, something has to come to a conclusion or an end. The second house is the area of our self-worth, our self-esteem. This is the house of this house rules over what we love and value. It also rules over the mouth, what comes in and what goes out. Some of you may be starting up a brand new business at this lunation. If you're one of those lucky people that has the opportunity to start a new business, make sure you're looking at all the details clearly, the pricing, the profit that and the profits that you stand to make. So essentially what I'm trying to say to you is this is an excellent time for you to investigate opportunities, to look at the fine print, to look at the details, and if possible, if you can wait, it's best to wait until Mercury is clear of the opposition to Neptune when he's finally moving direct, before you sign contracts or you get into anything that is life-changing. Because whatever you agree to at this time might stick around for a long time, because remember, this lunation is involved. The ruler of this lunation is Venus, who's the ruler of the North Node and is involved in a grand Earth trine. So something is trying to stick here. Something is trying to set a foundation that is going to stay in your life for a very long time to come. And Virgo, you are an Earth sign. You might be experiencing some really positive things going on at this lunation because you are part of that grand Earth trine. Your ruling planet Mercury is part of that Earth trine. So it means you really have a say. You will have a chance to really speak up, bring up your expectations, bring up your demands, and bring up whatever needs to be revised and changed in your contracts, in your agreements. At this lunation is perfect for you to do all of that. The ruling planet Mercury is currently transiting retrograde and is conjunct Venus. Venus, who is the ruler of this lunation. Or perhaps you're telling someone how much you love them or how much you're into them. So perhaps some of you Virgos are hearing sweet nothings from people, or perhaps you're the one who's saying sweet words. This is a really positive aspect, so enjoy it while it lasts. And your ruling planet Mercury being conjunct Venus, the ruler of the lunation and the ruler of the North Node, might just set your path at this time, might just set a solid foundation, something that's going to stick in your life for a very long time to come. And remember that Venus will be exalted a few days after this lunation when she enters her own sign her own sign of Libra. So things can only get better as we move forward. Libra ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your sign. It's happening in your first house, your ascendant. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because as we all know, whenever we have new beginnings, some things have to naturally end. The first house is an angle house. Whenever the ascendant is activated, it activates all the other angles in your life. So whatever decisions you're making at this lunation, these are decisions that are going to affect your home area. They're going to affect your relationships with others. They're also going to affect the work that you do or your standing in society. This is a really positive new moon, Libra. It's an excellent time for you to carefully, keyword, make brand new beginnings. And if you haven't watched the beginning of this video, you have not watched the introduction, I suggest that you go and watch the whole introduction, because you will be able to take whatever aspects are being activated at this lunation and place them in your own natal birth chart so you can see how it's going to affect you personally. And if you're still confused after that, I suggest that you book a reading with me so that we can go over your chart and see where you can potentially where the new beginnings are really supported at this time. Because remember, you only have a new beginning you only have a new moon once a year. So the changes that you could be making at this time could have to do with your person, your body. You might be starting a new diet, or perhaps you might want to do some elective surgery to improve a certain part of your body. I suggest that you wait until Mercury is clear from Neptune so that you and your doctor are seeing things clearly. And also there's an opposition to and also remember that your ruling planet Venus is also opposing Neptune at this time. So you may be seeing the result a little differently, and your doctor may be seeing things also a bit differently. At the end of the day, you are the one who's going to be stuck with those changes, and you might not like them. So wait until all this energy has cleared. It's a good time to go over all the details, all the aspects of whatever it is that you're trying to change about your identity or about how others see you, and then make your final decisions after this energy has cleared. Your ruling planet Venus is the ruler of this lunation, and she is also the ruler of the transiting North Node in Taurus. So whatever Venus does is really, really important to Libras and Tauruses. So your ruling planet Venus is conjunct Mercury at this lunation, and they're both opposing Neptune. Venus is also involved in a harmonious trine to Pluto, so you may really want to go deep and bring things up to the surface for discussion, and I suggest that you really do so. It's an excellent time to bring up whatever has been hidden, whatever you've been shoving under the mattress, in the closet. It's time to bring all that out and evaluate and look over certain details before you can make an informed decision, because whatever it is that you're trying to initiate at this time is going to stay in your life for a very, very long time, and that is due to the grand earth trine that is being formed in the earth signs involving your planet Venus, who's also the ruler of the south, who's also the ruler of the North Node. This grand earth trine is essentially reactivating the triple conjunction of Mars, Uranus, and the North Node. Whatever you set into motion, whatever you initiate at this time, is possibly going to stay in your life for the next 15 years to come. So choose wisely. Don't allow yourself to be sweet-talked into anything that you'll probably regret a bit later when Venus transits into your sign, which is only a few days after this lunation. Venus is also squaring Mars, who's currently transiting in the sign of Gemini. This square is going to probably make you feel a bit agitated, passionate, overly excited, and overly intense because of all the other aspects that Venus is making. And of course, the new moon is happening in your sign. So this is going to really sensitize this area of your chart. You might be very sensitive, you might be very passionate, and perhaps even aggressive and angry at this time. So just keep in mind that whatever is happening now is trying to push you into the direction of your fated future. Scorpio ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 12th house. This is the area where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings. As we all know, whenever you initiate some things, whenever you initiate things, you have new beginnings. Something is most likely going to end. The 12th house is a hidden house. This is a place where we tend to self-sabotage. This is the area of our hidden enemies, and sometimes the hidden enemy could actually be yourself. So this is an area where we cannot see what's going on because it's in the back of us, it's behind us. This is the area where we're essentially blind. Now here comes a new beginning in an area where you're blind, where you cannot see. This means that Scorpio has to actually rely on their instinct and their intuition, and perhaps messages from the other side. And these messages could come to you psychically, intuitively, or through your dreams, because the 12th house is also the area of rest. It's the area of where we sleep. It's the area where we dream. So if you're one of those people who is highly sensitive, pay attention to your dreams. Write them down when you wake up so that you may not forget them, or perhaps see them in a way that you would want to interpret them or see them, simply because we still have the energy of Mercury opposing Neptune, which could have a bit delusional. The 12th house also rules over foreign lands. So perhaps some of you are traveling in a foreign land, or are planning to travel to a foreign land or move to a foreign land. This is an excellent time for you to really have somebody else look at all the details, because remember, you can't see what's going on. You're blind in this area. Have someone you trust go over your travel details, go over all your documents, your visas, and whatever paperwork that needs to be looked over. And since this is a blind area for you, I'm going to really suggest that you go back and listen to the whole introduction of this video, because there's more information that you could use and translate this information to how it would affect you according to your own placements in your own natal birth chart. And remember, you can always book me for a reading if you need further guidance, because as we all know, there's been a lot going on for all fixed signs, and we have this upcoming solar eclipse in our sign on the 25th of October. So we might essentially be feeling all this energy at this time. Those that are dealing with addictions and self-sabotaging habits, this is the worst time for you to encourage those habits. You have the aspect of Mercury opposing Neptune. Your judgment might be off. You might do too much, and the 12th house is the house of endings. So you might bring about your own ending through your own self-sabotaging habits. So this is the time to be essentially very, very careful about whatever decisions that you make at this time. And remember, you have supporting energy from the grand earth trine, because your sign sextiles this energy. There is opportunity for you to actually take advantage of things that are presented to you. But again, you are blind in this area. Have somebody else look over details before you make any decisions by yourself at this time. Your ruling planets, Mars and Pluto, are the rulers of the South Node. This is where we are letting go. So a lot of Scorpios are going to be forced. So a lot of Scorpios may be forced to let go of certain things that have been in their life for a very long time. And Scorpio is a fixed water sign, likes to hold on to things, likes to hold on to emotions. This is the time that you have to look at these issues very, very openly, clearly, bring up whatever needs to be brought up to the surface, and let go of whatever needs to be let go of. Because even if you don't do it at this time, you're probably going to be forced to do so at the time of the solar eclipse that's happening in Scorpio on the 25th of October. So the advice of this lunation, don't make any life-changing decisions. And if you have to, have somebody else look over the details, because you are blind at this time. Even though you have positive aspects to the ruler of this lunation, because Mars, you have one really positive aspect to the ruler of this lunation, Venus, who's the ruler of the North Node. Pluto is trining Venus. That's supportive and harmonious energy. But at the same time, your other ruler, Mars, is squaring Venus. So there seems to be a bit of a tug of war. Here. And that may sound repetitive. You're blind in this area. You cannot see what is going on. You're in a dark room. Sagittarius, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is where you're going to have new beginnings and perhaps some endings. As we all know, whenever you begin something new, something has to come to an end. The 11th house is a happy house. It is the house that rules over promotions, accolades, and financial windfalls, and our benefactors. So at this time, there will be a new beginning with there could be a new beginning with a benefactor. Somebody can come into your life and somebody can come into your life and present you with a wonderful opportunity for you to change the whole direction of your life. If you've been wanting to join a social club or or a social media platform, this will be a good time for you to make that new beginning. If things don't go your way, you can always shut your account on a social media platform. Some of you may be having new beginnings with your friends. Some of you may decide to take a friendship to the next level, and others could have a new beginning with your aunt or your uncle, because they're all ruled under the 11th sign of the zodiac. The 11th house is the house where we get the rewards of all the work that we did in the 10th house. This is the time that some of you could have a new beginning, in that you get a promotion and you start working on a different floor in your building with different people. So essentially you are belonging to a different group. You are belonging to a different group, and you're probably going to have different types of relationships in that new area, in that new group that you have joined. The 11th house also rules over our hopes, dreams, and wishes. So perhaps some of you may have a realization of one of your dreams. One of your dreams could actually come true at this lunation. For others, some of you may have to look at your hopes, dreams, and wishes and examine if you're being realistic. Some of your wishes may have to be let go at this time, because perhaps they're not that realistic, or perhaps not even relevant to where to the direction you're heading at this time. Sagittarians and other fire signs might actually have a better experience at this lunation, because Sagittarius sextiles Libra. That is a harmonious and supportive aspect. So it means that you have to make efforts. You have to make an effort to go for what you want in initiating new contracts and agreements in those organizations. And it also means that if opportunities are presented to you, you have to take advantage of this time. You have to take advantage of them. Sextile energy, if not applied, will disappear. It will just dissipate. So be on alert and look for opportunities. Your ruling planet Jupiter is opposing this lunation. So perhaps Sagittarius, you have really big ideas and you feel like the Mercury person is not necessarily in agreement with you, or perhaps moving too slow because they want to go over details and bring up past issues. This opposition was exact, I believe, on the 18th. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Mercury is going to oppose Jupiter 3 times. So the previous one was the second time, and the last one will be when Mercury is finally moving direct. There will be the last opposition. So this opposition to the luminaries could essentially make you too over optimistic and perhaps wanting to push ideas. I suggest that you slow it down a little bit, be a bit more realistic, and give others a chance to process all your big ideas and all the information that needs to be looked over. Wait until the opposition from Mercury to Neptune is done with before you make any major life-changing decisions. Capricorn ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 10th house. This is the area where you're going to have new beginnings and perhaps some endings. As we all know, whenever you make new beginnings, something has to come to a natural end. The 10th house is a public house. This is an angle house. So whatever is happening at the time of this lunation is going to be done so in a very public manner. This is not something that you can hide away or not tell anyone about. It's going to be seen because this is the top of the chart. The 10th house is an angle house. So when this angle is being activated, it's going to activate all the other angles in your chart. So whatever happens at your place of work or with your standing in society is going to affect your relationships with others. It's of course going to affect you, the ascendant, and is also going to affect your home area. So whatever is being brought up right now is something that is possibly life-changing, because your sign is part of the grand earth trine at this lunation, and this grand earth trine is trying to bring something solid. It's reactivating the Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction that we had earlier in August, whatever decisions you're making at this time are decisions about things that are possibly going to stay in your life for a very long time to come. So be careful when making life-changing decisions, because there's a bit of confusion going on here. Mercury is going retrograde and is bringing up old issues. So your boss might be bringing up things that you thought that were resolved and long done with and you'd forgotten about. They're going to be brought up at this lunation, and you're going to have to deal with them. If you've been unemployed for a while, it's very likely that you get employment it's very likely that you find a job at this time, but they might be asking you a lot of questions about your past, or they may be checking all your references. So make sure you're using proper references and real authentic references. Capricorn, if you're looking over documents, perhaps you're trying to start your own business, this is an excellent time for you to bring up all your concerns to your partner or whoever you're signing an agreement with. It's a good time to bring up all the issues and concerns that you may have about whatever contracts or agreements that you're trying to get into or sign at this time, so that those things may be looked over and examined. If you can afford to hire an attorney, I suggest that you do so, because they may be able to see the blind spots, the caveats, or the fine print in any agreement. As we all know, decisions made in the 10th house can certainly be life-changing. So some of you may have a new beginning in your standing in society, in that you become divorced, perhaps married. Your title changes from single to married. And for some people, unfortunately, it could also be being widowed. Things like that do happen. Your ruling planet Saturn is not involved in this lunation, so you kind of get a bit of a break from all the squares to Uranus in the sign of Taurus, because right now the earth signs are experiencing a harmonious grand earth trine, which is very supportive, and it can help energy flow very easily in the houses that are involved. But remember that Capricorn squares Libra, so the new moon might bring situations where you're actually pushed into taking action, whether you like it or not. Squares do push us into action, and sometimes some of us need to be pushed into action, and once we take that action, it could actually have a positive result. Capricorn, as long as you're taking the right actions, well thought out actions, I think you're going to have a very positive experience at this lunation, because there's just too many other sweet aspects going on in the earth signs. Aquarius, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 9th house. This is the area where you're going to have new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we have new beginnings, something has to come to an end. The 9th house rules over the justice system. Aquarius, do you have a lawsuit that's been ongoing? Perhaps at this lunation, you are going to receive some new information where you have to make some decisions that are going to change your life for a very long time, for a very long time to come. Others could actually have a new beginning in that they hire an attorney and sue someone at this lunation. And make sure this lunation is asking all of us to bring up issues that have been hidden, issues that we have avoided. Anything that needs to be brought up for discussion should be brought up at this lunation. So if you've been withholding certain information from your lawyer, you haven't been absolutely honest, this is the time to tell your lawyer the truth. Your lawyer is there to defend you anyway. They're not there to judge you. That's the job of the judge. But if your lawyer is not well informed and doesn't have all the details, they're probably not going to be able to represent you. They're probably not going to be able to represent you to the best of their abilities, because you're withholding certain information. So bring everything to the table, Aquarius. The 9th house is the house of our future. So it's very likely that some of you will be making decisions that concern your future. They're going to determine what stays and what goes in your life. So it's time to be really, truly honest with yourself. The ninth house also rules over religion. It rules over priests and gurus. It also rules over foreign lands and foreign places. So if you're planning to have a new beginning in a foreign land, you're traveling to a foreign land, make sure you have all your documents in place and make sure all your traveling arrangements are solid. Make sure there's no missing information. And if you're traveling to this foreign country for the first time, make sure you understand the language or you have a proper app for translation, because there is room for miscommunication, misunderstanding, or seeing things the way you want them to see. Mercury, the planet of communication, is opposing Neptune, the planet of deception and confusion. So just make sure all the details are correct. Your ruling planets, Uranus and Saturn, are fortunately not involved at this lunation, because they're too busy squaring each other they're too busy still squaring each other from the sign of Aquarius and Taurus. However, at this lunation, all the fixed signs are getting a bit of a break. We're getting the positive activation of the prior triple conjunction of Mars, Uranus, and the North Node conjunction in Taurus. It's being reactivated at this time because it's part of a grand earth trine, and the houses that are involved and the signs that are involved in this grand earth trine are Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. So this area in your chart is essentially so there is something that is going to be solidified in this area of your chart. So perhaps some of those decisions that you make at this lunation in the area of your ninth house are ultimately going to affect the outcome of the grand earth trine. So yes, the decisions that you make now could potentially affect you for a very long time to come. After all, most of these situations might involve documents, the law, and the justice system. Aquarius, I think this lunation is actually going to be positive if you use the energy to your advantage. Aquarius actually trines the sign of Libra. A trine is a harmonious aspect and it's a supportive aspect. Let's not forget that we have Mars transiting the sign of Gemini. There is a grand air trine right there, and this is supportive of open communications. Make sure to take advantage of all this positive energy. Don't get bogged down with the Saturn-Uranus square. That's been ongoing for a while. I'm sure you're used to this energy. Relax for a minute and try to attend to other issues that are calling for your attention in your natal birth chart. Pisces ascendant, Sun or Moon. This lunation is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings. As we all know, whenever we have brand new beginnings, something usually has to come to a natural end. The 8th house rules over things like other people's money, death, inheritances, taxes, and transformation. The 8th house is the house where we bond. The 8th house is the house where we bond with another person. It's a place where we share resources. It's a place where we get really deep and intimate. We also have to keep in mind that the 8th house is the area where we keep our secrets. Sometimes secrets that we actually even hide from ourselves. The 8th house is the Scorpio house. This is a very, very deep house. So some of you Pisces people could be having a new beginning in that somebody passes, and as a result of their transformation into another existence, you get an inheritance. There is a negative ending, but as a result of that ending, there is a positive outcome in that now you have some money in your pocket. Other people could have a new beginning in a relationship. Perhaps you've been seeing someone for a while. The new beginning could be that you decide to move in together and start sharing resources. So you're bonding with another person on a deeper level, which is a positive new beginning. Pisces, if you're applying for a mortgage at this time, I highly suggest that you wait a little bit until Mercury is moving direct and is really far away from the opposition of Neptune, because you may not be seeing the details clearly, and somebody may be presenting to you a very attractive and easy agreement, mortgage agreement to sign. They're pushing this contract on you, but they're not telling you, but they're not telling you the whole, but they may not be telling you all the details. Perhaps you can get a better interest rate. So I wouldn't be so quick to sign any documents or agreements at the time of this lunation. It is a great time to bring up all your concerns and all your concerns and all the specifics before you sign this agreement or mortgage, or before you sign any documents or mortgage agreements. And if you can afford to, make sure that you have an attorney looking over all the details. If you're involved in a divorce, this is not the time for you to just agree to anything that is presented to you by your former spouse, because they may not be declaring all their assets. Perhaps there's some hidden accounts, and they offer you a lump sum that looks attractive, and you just go for it because you want to just get it over and done with. I suggest that you step back, hire an attorney, or if you can just wait a little bit until this murky energy dissipates, because remember, your ruling planet Neptune is actually opposing Mercury, the sign that you need for communication and communication and negotiating anything. So Pisces, you might be seeing things the way you want to see them at this lunation. Jupiter and Mercury just came off an opposition. So Jupiter has really, really big ideas. Jupiter again rules your sign Pisces. So that's another aspect telling me that you're wanting to see things the way you're wanting to see things in an unrealistic way. You're glossing over details. You have pink glasses on, and you're refusing to look at things which are being brought up, things from the past, things which have to be reevaluated. This lunation is good for you to bring out whatever is hidden, whatever secrets, whatever you've been even hiding from yourself. It's time for you to bring that to the open and leave them for discussion or revision. So Pisces, as long as you're seeing things clearly and you're not being swayed by lies and tall tales that others may be throwing your way at this time. And there's also the danger of seeing others or partners very idealistically, because Venus is transiting in your opposite sign of Virgo, and she is in detriment because she is exalted in your sign. So Venus at this time opposing your sign could actually have you looking at things a bit fantastical. But if you've been too critical and too judgmental, this is the time that you may want to soften your stance a bit and give a bit of breathing room to your partner. Give them a chance to explain themselves and tell their side of the story. Pisces ascendant could have a positive outcome at the end of this, after this lunation, simply because the sign of Pisces sextiles all the earth signs. So this sextile is going to give you opportunities. The sextile is an aspect of effort and taking advantage of whatever opportunities are brought your way. And this grand earth trine is trying to bring something solid in the area of Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo with your partnerships, and in the Taurus area that is being reactivated because of this grand earth trine. So there are a lot of other positive aspects that are happening at this lunation. Pisces, if you haven't listened to the beginning of this video, go back and listen to the whole introduction. You'll be able to use the aspects that I talk about in the beginning and apply them to your own natal birth chart and see how this could possibly affect you personally. And if you're still not understanding what's happening here, I suggest you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com.